Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my corner of the internet. My name is Jason and today we are back with the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall. Last time we came into this, where are we again? I can't remember, where are we? We came to this place, the Hold of Yelmstum, that's right, we're doing a Daedra quest for Mr. Hircine, and we've just found ourselves an enchanted casual dress. It's casually enchanted. We're going to go ahead and take that and add that to our inventory. And because we've found something, let's go ahead and say this as working 35. If you're new to the game, you're new to this this playthrough, it's a very old school game. You need to be doing manual saves, which is why you will frequently see me jumping into the save screen, because should I die at some point, I have to redo everything since my last save point. If you pay us, and I'm going to be acting as your tour guide for this game for the next little while, provided you want to continue watching me. A wereboar's tusk. This could be an indication we're close to our prey, because we're currently hunting down a wereboar that finds himself not in Hircine's favor. If you pay attention to the left, you'll notice that wall's waving a little bit. Whoa, 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 whoa. You might think that that's some kind of cool, liquid portal leading to another place, but it's not. It's just a graphical issue. Back in the day, things weren't rendered as nicely. Things weren't, the 3D was not as sophisticated as it is now, and sometimes it had problems with perspective. So, anyways, what we're doing is we've gotten a quest from Mr. Hircine, which is if you're not familiar with the Elder Scrolls, is a Daedra. And if I'm remembering correctly, if my lore of the Elder Scrolls is as brushed up on as it should be, basically there are two types of, we'll say, major, we will classify them as gods, if you will. There's the Aedra and there's the Daedra, and the Aedra is pretty much non-existent at this point, if I remember correctly. Either that or I think they're pretty much non-existent. That part I'm a little bit iffy on, but the Daedra are the, I don't want to say that they're the dark or the evil, but they pretty much are. They're kind of the darker side of things, and we've accepted the quest with one. So in essence, we've made a deal with the devil, kind of. It's really more of, it was kind of like an elk man. He had like antlers and stuff, but anyways. Since we have a curse on us, we are cursed with a lycanthropy, which means we turn into a werewolf at the full moon, and occasionally we just like to do it for kicks. It's a great party trick. We decided to go ahead and talk to Hircine because he can give us a wonderful artifact known as Hircine's Ring, which will allow us to control our curse so that we don't always have to transform, because it's actually a curse. There's actually some downsides to being super powerful and fast and stuff like that. Stuff like you can't access your inventory. But, if you've been watching this playthrough from the beginning or even from, a little while back, you're already aware of all this, so I'm not going to bore you with more of those details. You already know. You're in the know. You know these things. You're good. You are a smart. All right, so let's go ahead and save the game. Let's go ahead and continue running through this dungeon. We're looking for a wereboar that Hircine wants us to go ahead and teach a lesson. And by that I can only assume he means, bust some heads in. And by heads I mean singular, that one head. But there happens to be a lot of mummies and rats and things that are in our way. And I really hope I'm in the right place. Hold of Yelmstum. And I need to go to... Oh, there we go. By the Daedra Prince Hircine to slay a wereboar in the Hold of Yelmstum. Alright. So we are in the right place. Alright, so, now, I have gotten a question the other, day. And by the other day, I mean, yesterday. I mean, by, holy cow, those monster noises are freaking loud and it's annoying. Okay. Thanks, game. Yeah, I like... Way! I just fell through the floor. This is another reason why we go ahead and save the game frequently, because Daggerfall is a buggy mess and it likes to just do stuff like that to you very frequently. It's a very poorly coded game. Anyways, I was asked a question about how I got the sound, like my music, the way it is. I may have mentioned it kind of in a video. I kind of was like, yeah, I got an MT32, it's amazing. But I didn't really go into much detail or explain exactly what that meant. Basically, back in the day, a lot of the soundtracks and stuff were done via MIDI. Now, MIDI is basically, it's more of a format, so it's kind of like sheet music for computers. So you have very small file sizes, and then the computer would actually play the music in real time. And what happened was you could actually have devices like an actual MIDI player or synthesizer hooked up to your computer. Now, it had to be supported. You couldn't just go ahead and hook up anything. But one of the popular ones of the day was the Roland MT32, which was kind of a... I don't want to say a complete synthesizer. It was I guess it was basically a synthesizer. I guess the official name is it was a multi-timbre sound module. But anyways, it's an actual hardware device. It's an actual box. It's something I have to hook up to my computer, and I have no magic because this ghost went ahead and it sucked the magic out of me. So we're gonna have to use I do have an enchanted item that will help me out of this mess. Let me see. Emerald of Venom Antidote. I can't remember what that does. No, it's Venom Spitting that I have a hard time. I can't remember what it does. Let me see. Cursing, Formal Brazier. I can't remember which one actually frees me. Blazing Diamond of... Unrestrainable Dagger. There we go. There we go. Now I can move again. So anyways, I've got this hardware device hooked up to my computer, and that is how I actually have the music that I have. I'll be right back. And when I loaded my game, for some reason, a vampire, like, spawned right behind me. So that was an easy, free 600 gold. So this is what happens sometimes. Sometimes while you're... it tends to happen while you are sneaking, because sneaking reduces your speed. Now, if you walk basically from one... sort of square area to the next, sometimes there's a gap, and if you're moving slow enough, it'll put you through. So, oh crud, where are you? I gotta kill you again. I don't even know where you are, and I'm gonna die. Luckily, when you die, it also tends to flip your inventory. So, what was at the bottom is at the top, and what is at the top is on the bottom. So, hey, awesome, I died. So now my enchanted items are up at the top, and I would die if I didn't have an item at the top I could heal myself with. So yeah, anyways, that's how I have the sound that I have, is via using an actual legitimate MT32. Now, I didn't start this playthrough off with it. I started off with, just the typical default. I think it was like Sound Blaster sound. And then after that, I switched over to a Munt, which was an MT32 emulator. The thing is, with the emulator is you need to have the actual ROM files for the MT32. Luckily, my brother had an MT32. So that's how I was able to get the emulator running, and then eventually I just got... My brother was just like, here, dude, I don't use it here. Like, he was like, happy birthday, you have an MT32, and I was like, sweet! Sweet, I end up with the MT32. So that's how I have the music that I have. I'm not aware of any other means to get this kind of, we'll say, music out of the game. So, it's kind of a shame. I hate it when games or, stuff like that is really dependent upon specific hardware. That tends to be an argument a lot that, PC gamers use against, like, say, consoles, and that's something that does bother me, that, one day, what if, if one of my consoles dies, an entire section of my library is going to become unplayable. Particularly, I'm thinking about my Wii U, which is, like, my favorite console. We're just gonna rest for, like, maybe 2 hours. Enemies nearby? Of course there is. Okay, we'll go Slayer. They didn't see us, but we'll... why not? It's free experience and loot and stuff, right? So yeah, like the Wii U, I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, in the future, that gamepad is, the specific controller used for the Wii U is very, we'll say, important to being able to play stuff on it. And, I've already had a problem happen with it once where I had to replace the left thumbstick, so I'm like, what happens if something goes on that? There's going to be entire games from that library that I won't be able to play, so it's got me a little bit worried, and it's kind of sort of the same scenario here where we've got, Daggerfall, and some of some of these old games were actually designed around the MT32. A lot of old adventure games, like, I played Space Quest 3 on my channel. I was using the emulator at that point, unfortunately. I wasn't using the authentic one, and there is a sound difference. But the emulator does an okay job. It does a pretty good job at emulating the sound. But yeah, that's something. Some of these games are not going to be able to be enjoyed in the way they were actually meant to be. You know, the sound is not the same because of the way things were at the time. You know, it was expected that you would go get yourself, you know, an external, like if you were serious about sound, you would go ahead and get yourself something. There's supposed to be a door here. It does not unlock. There we go. That's what I think about your stinking lock. Awesome. All right. So, another thing. I had, let me see here. Oh, that's right. I was talking about being a werewolf earlier. And one thing that I had been thinking about is, like, you know, how much I actually like, how the werewolves are handled in this game. I like it how it's handled in Morrowind as well, but we're playing Daggerfall, so let's just talk about Daggerfall. You know, provided I can find the next place I'm supposed to explore. Okay, up the ramp. So we'll go this way, loop around, and then go north, I think? Yes, there we go. And then there's another room I didn't explore. Yeah. I like that the fact that the werewolf thing is not like some blessing. It is a curse. Yes, you're given this power, but it does create problems for you. It does become a pain at times, and that's how I feel that you know, gifts such as lycanthropy and vampirism, they should be in these games. They shouldn't be these superpowers you get. And that you can just sort of like, all right, let's just march through stuff because I'm a werewolf now. No, there should be downsides to, you know, sort of a balance. You know, downsides to sort of offset the bonuses and the, you know, the advantages you're given. I really think that is, you know, that should be a thing, and that is a thing in Daggerfall, and I really appreciate the way that is done. Now, some people could say, well, it's not fun when I'm hindered and stuff. There's a lot of things down this hallway. I'm gonna save before I go ahead and try to kill everything. We got a zombie, 2 vampires, and a spider. Oh wow, we got 3 vampires. Holy crap, 4 vampires, I think. Oh, they're all guarding the wereboar. And he has no idea I'm coming because I'm sneaking up behind him. Amazing. Backstab! The wereboar is dead, as you promised Daedra, Prince Hircine. Sorry, buddy. The body has no treasure. Well, that's fine. I'm about to go get an amazing treasure. So we're gonna go ahead and loot these bodies. But yeah, I like that. I think that, adamantium claymore. I don't really like using large weapons because I'm more of a sneaky type character, as you probably have noticed. But, you know, it's adamantium, so let's go ahead and take it. Adamantium stuff is good stuff. That looks like a steel daikatana, so we're just gonna ignore that. Because steel is garbage. We don't need steel. Alright, I think we've got our loot. And now we do have a spell that will allow us to teleport back to the dungeon entrance. So let's go ahead and maybe rest until about fully healed. About fully healed, there we go. We'll stop right about here. There should be enough magic to go ahead and get us back to the entrance. So let's go ahead and hit trop. Oh, wow. 75. Not bad. Cool. So let's go ahead and leave the Hold of Yamstum, and now I just need to remember where I need to go claim my reward. Give me a second while I consult my notes. Alright, where I need to head to is the Silver Wolf in Ripgate Field. So let's go ahead and consult our map here. It's probably in Daggerfall. Man, this place has got a lot of places. We're gonna narrow things down. Actually, we don't even need to narrow things down. We're just gonna type in find, and we're looking for Ripgate Field. Ripgate. I think I wrote that down correctly. Ripgate Field. Nope. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think it was Ripborn? Nope. Uh-oh. Give me a second. Alright, maybe I made a typo when I was typing things in. Yeah, maybe that was it. Do you wish to travel to Ripgate Field? Yes, I would like to do so. We're gonna do so... We're gonna go recklessly. Because I want to get there as quickly as possible. I was given 9 days to complete this quest. And, let me see, when was I actually given the quest? Let me see. On the 21st. So I gotta be done this by the 30th. And we are what? The 24th. Oh, crap, man. I did this really quick. I guess it's not a bad thing. So we are now entering Ripgate Field, and we need to find the place called the Silver Wolf. So let's go ahead and take a look at our map. Wow, it's a nice small place. I'm pretty sure we can find that without having to ask around anywhere. I suspect this here is it. Let's go ahead and take a look. Info mode, the Silver Wolf. Let's go on in. Now we're looking for probably you, this girl here. Let's see, Venera Buckington. And this is who we need to speak to. Hello, actually, look, save before you do anything in this game. Anything. Hello, Alexis, you made it. Hersine's impressed with you, which is no small accomplishment. Here's the Hersine ring you were promised. Take care. Oh, wow, worth 50,000 gold. Dang. Item powers caster only. The Curse of Lycanthropy has its advantages. The incredible strength, speed, ferocity of a werebeast make it a fearsome opponent. There are, of course, disadvantages. The bearer of the Hersine shield. Shield? Okay. Can choose when to be a lycanthrope and when not. Essentially, this gives him all the advantages with few of the negatives. Spells none. So, do I equip it? Oh, okay, it is a ring. Yeah, so I equip it as a ring. I think that's how it works. And I think that will do it for our, badness? Okay, let me do a little bit of experimentation here. If I look at my spell list, I still have lycanthropy, so I can still transform, I guess, at will. I don't really see anything else added here, which makes sense because the inventory listing even told me that there was nothing added. What about on my item list here? Nothing. Alright, so I'm assuming this is like a constant effect item that just allows me to transform back and forth between lycanthropy and not lycanthropy. Hey, I'm cool with that. Alright, so we have finished Hersine's quest, and we have gotten Hersine's ring. So now, what is left for us to do? Well, let's take a look at our logbook. If we'll remember Lysandris' ghost appearing to us, you know, in that episode where we didn't get to see the cutscene, and I was still really disappointed about that. Anyways, we've discovered that Lord Woodbourne basically was the guy responsible for Lysandris' death, and he wants vengeance, as he likes to say over and over again. So we might be needing to head back to Wayrest to fight him, to kill him, or to embarrass him. And I did write down the name of his castle, I think. It's not listed here in my journal, but that's the thing about Daggerfall. You want to be keeping your own journal next to you. I've got a pad of paper here, and I'm writing down notes, which is interesting because Arena gave you all the information you needed, and you never really needed to take notes, but I guess it was a much simpler game. Anyways, so let's go ahead and begin. Wait a second, Jason. I'm getting ahead of myself. We probably have stuff in our inventory. Our encumbrance is at 130 out of 150. We probably want to do a little bit of house cleaning. Let me see, this dagger I'm walking around with is worn. I really like this dagger, though, so why don't we stay around in town? Oh, only if we can find somebody who can repair things. I just remembered that. This is a very small town. So small that, I gotta be careful where I walk because if you just step a little bit out of bounds, your map won't show up. I guess that really doesn't matter anyways, but because of, never mind. It just doesn't matter. So we have a general store. Hopefully Buddy here, whoever's in here, can go ahead and repair stuff for us. We'll stick around in town for a little bit until our junk is repaired, if he does that. Do you do that? He does repair items. Excellent. So we're going to go ahead and leave our dagger with him. Actually, let's take a look at our inventory. Is there anything else that needs repair? That looks fine. That looks fine. That looks fine. Everything's new. I guess we don't get hit much. Because we're awesome. That helmet, I think, is one of our oldest pieces of equipment, and we still have it. So let's go ahead and, yeah, let's just go ahead and, actually, is there anything else in my inventory that needs repairing? New, arrows, short bow, dwarven longbow, No. So let's check the guy's shelves and see if he's selling anything of interest, particularly in the realm of bow and arrows. I want to find a nice bow, decent quality bow that we can use to slay things. But this doesn't appear to be really an equipment shop. But he does have a few items, I suppose. 8 arrows, sure, I'll buy that. Yeah, 12 gold, why not? And yeah, he doesn't really have a whole lot. So, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and repair our stuff. Repair item. Select this dagger. Where is it? Oh, okay, I put it in our inventory. So it's really worn. I want that repaired so that I can go ahead and use that on my next mission. Repair. Let's see, how long is it gonna take? We would normally charge more, but for you it only has 14 gold. It doesn't tell me how long it's gonna take. Normally, doesn't it have a thing that says like how many days? Oh, now it tells us 1 day, or 1 days. Okay, so we will wait in town for like a day, and let's see, sell. Let's sell some things. Now we have a mithril longsword. Do we have a adamantium longsword that we can compare with? Yes, 822, 822. I can't remember what's better. I think adamantium's better. We don't need 2 longswords. I can't remember which is actually better. Crap. Don't bother telling me, I'm gonna look it up. Not right now, but I'll look it up later. But either way, I don't need that many longswords, so let's go ahead and sell this mithril longsword. Anything else here? We've got an elven shortbow, which is pretty much garbage at this point. We've got a dwarven one. We've also got a magic bow. We also have some items that we might want to get identified, but we don't have the means to do so right now because we're not near the Mages Guild or anything, so we'll have to do that later. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go ahead and select some things. I'll have to check which books we've read and stuff. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've sold a few things, basically some books we've already read, that one sword, and now I'm just going to go ahead and sleep at the inn for a little while. Like I said, we're just going to be basically killing a day. What I might do, just to maybe keep things interesting, I haven't really just talked to people before. Like, what is my reputation right now? I am a common citizen. I wonder if it's possible... I thought about, different ways to increase my reputation with different factions, with different people, and I'm like, I rarely ask around for just random jobs, because I'm always trying to advance myself within a guild, right? So, the question becomes, wait, no, actually, I don't want that. I can just sleep in my ship. There we go. So we'll just go ahead and, where is it? Press T, jump off to our ship, and we'll just rest here. So anyways, I thought about increasing my, relationship with various people or the various factions, and I was like, why do it for regions? And, it got me thinking, actually, you know what? I am running low on time. We will talk maybe a little bit more about, we'll say, reputation gain next time. Next time when we come back, I'll be picking up my damaged dagger, and we'll be getting ready to go ahead to tackle our next quest, next part of the main quest. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and take a look at the books we do have on us right now. We've got Mara's Tear. I don't think we've read this one before. It's not on my list. So we're going to go ahead and read this book, and then we will end things off. Mara's Tear. Well, children, if you all gather around and sit quietly, I'll tell you the story of Mara's Tear and Shandar's sorrow. Long, long ago, long before your grandmother and I were born, long ago there were 2 young children growing up in a village far, far from here. They played together and ran through the woods together, exploring their little world and learning to see things through each other's eyes. This was very different from their parents because Shandar was the son of Maldor, who was captured in a war and forced to work as a slave for the village baron. Their village and another both needed the land between them to feed the villagers and fought until many of the villagers died. Maldor was wounded in battle and left for dead by his fellows. He was captured and forced to work in the fields as punishment. Shandar was not allowed to play with Mara, but she was very small and the other children didn't like to play with her. So she played with Shandar against her father's command, and they learned that they were really not very different at all. They couldn't understand why their parents hated each other so. Well, Shandar and Mara played together for many years and learned to love each other as they grew up. They knew that they couldn't let their parents know because it was forbidden for them ever to marry, since they were from different villages and the war was still going on. They tried and tried to figure out how they could be happy together, and finally decided that they must run away from their village. They would try to make a new life for themselves in another village, far, far away from where they grew up. One night, while planning their escape, they were discovered by the town guards. Shandar tried to fight them, but they tied him up and dragged him away to the prison inside town. Mara was taken home, and her father was very angry with her and told her that she could not leave their home again. He went to the house of another farmer and asked if their son would marry Mara, so that she could never see Shandar again. The marriage was planned for the next week. Shandar, meanwhile, was to be killed for daring to be with Mara. He was beaten and placed in a stockade. And they were to hang him the next day. When Mara found out that Shandar was to be killed, she knew that she could never live without him and climbed out her window and ran into the woods, crying and crying. She ran and soon was lost. It was very dark, because back then they did not have any moons in the sky. Any sky in the sky back then to make it safe for little boys and girls. Soon she found herself in a part of the woods she had never been before and sat down on a rock since she was very tired. Well, the rock was a secret entrance to a cave where a very mean orc lived. When he came back from his hunting, he found Mara curled up asleep on his rock and thought to himself, a tasty little girl. I shall save her for my breakfast. He grabbed her and took her into his cave, moving the rock back so that she could not escape. She was sure to die and tried to escape, but the evil orc just laughed and laughed at her until she finally gave up. When the villagers found out that Mara had run off, they were very worried. No one knew the woods very well, and all were afraid of the evil orc that lived there. Only Shandar was not afraid, and he begged and begged for the Baron to set him free so that he could look for Mara. The Baron finally decided to let Shandar go, for no one else was brave enough to go and rescue Mara. So Shandar was set free, and he set off into the woods to go and rescue her. Shandar searched and searched but could not find poor Mara. Finally, he sat down on a rock to rest for a moment, and as he sat down, he noticed a piece of cloth under the rock. It was a piece from Mara's cloak. He realized that she must be under the rock somehow, and knew that the orc had captured her. He pushed and pushed on the rock and finally was able to roll it aside. He climbed down into the orc's cave, but it was very dark, and he could not see anything. The evil orc, when he heard his front door moving, hid in the shadows to see what was coming into his home. When he saw that it was just a little man boy, he grinned to himself and thought, "Now I have lunch too." When Shandar came near, the orc grabbed him and began to squeeze the life out of him. Back in the village, the people soon realized that they were foolish to let a young man go off into the woods by himself. They gathered all of their weapons and set off to find those two lost children. When they finally came upon the clearing near the orc's cave, they saw a strange and wondrous sight. A slain orc near the entrance to the cave, and Mara holding the head of poor Shandar in her lap. Shandar had killed the orc, but not before it gave Shandar a mortal wound. Mara's tears flowed freely from her eyes and splashed upon Shandar's face. Reflecting the light from the villagers' torches, Shandar was filled with sorrow at the thought that he had saved Mara only to lose her because of his own impending death from the battle with the orc. He cried out to Mara's namesake, the goddess of love, to help them. the goddess Mara recognized their true love and wept at their loss. Not having power over death, she could do nothing to save Shandar, but she knew that she could not let their love die. She reached down from the heavens and picked up Mara and Shandar in her arms and placed them high in the heavens. They could be together always and provide light in the dark night to others, so that they may be safe from the evils in the world. The villagers were amazed by this sight and vowed to honor the love of Shandar and Mara by learning more about themselves and their neighbors, so that the war that had been going on as long as anyone could remember would end. Shandar's sacrifice for the one he loved showed them that he was worthy of their respect, and that those from his village were just as proud and worthy as themselves. And that's why, children, every night we can see Mara's tear and Shandar's sorrow, spending their lives together high in the heavens, lighting the way for all the little boys and girls like you. I actually really like that story. I don't know why. I was like, oh man, the feels are coming. I really like that story. That's a sweet story. I like that. All right. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and end things here. If you liked the video, you liked the content, and you would like to see more of it, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, leave it a thumbs down. Either way, let me know what you thought in the comments section. And until next time, I'd like to ask you all to game on.